What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the show, man. Recap with Mo, where we're getting ready to get into a brand new episode, breakdown the Tyler Perry's SISTAS. But before we get into this thing, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss shit that's going down, alright? So the episode we're getting ready to get into is for season 8, episode number 1, titled Dead Man Walking, alright? So this episode kicks off with Andy, which we find her in the room looking at Gary, who's laid out on the floor with a knife in his chest. But before we get into that part, let's go ahead and reverse it real quick so we can catch up. Now, in the previous episode, we saw where she and Hudson are standing up at the altar, and they're literally waiting on Gary's arrival. So I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. I thought it was supposed to be the woman. I thought it was supposed to be Andy that was supposed to be coming in with the doors opening, and she was supposed to be strolling and, flowing down the aisle or whatnot. So they're waiting on Gary to show up. So now Andy decides to take it upon herself to go back there to figure out what in the heck is going on. Why is he not here? He's forcing me to do this, and he got me sitting up here looking foolish, right? Well, he already got you looking foolish. But anyhow, so she goes on and she goes back to the back room to figure out what's going on. And when she walks in, she sees Gary laid out, stretched out on the floor with a knife in his chest, right? So, of course, she's like, you saw that face? Yeah, you saw it. Yeah, I saw it too. So anyhow, that's where we are. That's where we're starting this episode. So now that we're all caught up and refreshed or whatnot, we're ready to get into this thing. So the next thing you know, we see Agent Watt and Sister Andy in the interrogation room. He's going in on her, hard. Now, of course, we find out real quick that she actually volunteered. He called her. She volunteered to come in to answer any questions or concerns that he may have had about this situation. And he's going in like on level 10 and 15 right now. Now, of course, he wants to know, like, be honest with me, like, what's going on? What made you change your mind? At one point in time, you were anti-Gary. You were totally against him. You were moving on. And now all of a sudden, you've decided to walk down the aisle. So what's really going on here? Now, of course, she really doesn't give him anything. She tells him that is really complicated. And Agent Water's sitting over here like, okay, I got time today, shawty. So anyhow, she sits back down in her seat because initially she got pissed off. She was ready to leave or whatnot. But anyhow, as she's sitting back down, he tells her, by the way, I'm actually working this case along with another detective by the name of Detective Morgan. Now, we see Detective Morgan in another room sitting down with none other than Hudson himself. Now, Hudson is real cool, calm, and collective in the other room. And of course, he's asking him questions or whatnot. Now, initially, Hudson is actually giving him a little bit of information, but he finds out that he's giving a little bit too much, right? So he wants to peel back that that onion just a little bit, not too much, but just enough to get the officers off the case, at least off of him right now, right? So anyhow, let me step back real quick. So going back over there to Agent Watt and Andy, while he was talking to her, Agent Watt conveys to Andy that, Gary is no longer in the land of the living, right? So of course, Andy's like, hold on, wait a minute. Are you saying that he's gone? Because as far as she understood, Gary was actually fighting for his life inside of, in the ICU or whatnot. And he was like, well, unfortunately for him, he expired about an hour ago. Now, all of a sudden, she was like, hold on, wait a minute. Are you saying he's gone? And I'm trying to force this tear down my face, but it's not coming out my eyes. So, hold on, wait a minute. Put some eye drops in. No, it still ain't coming. I'm like, look at this video. I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. Where are the tears? And of course, Agent Watt is sitting there like, for real. And I'm like, right, bro, for real. Like, let's stop trying, right? So anyhow, at this moment in time, I'm like, okay, where are we going with this? Because over in the next room, we see Hudson laying it on thick, right? He got the gravy and the biscuits, and he putting that thing together, putting the vegetables on the side, whatever you want to add to the plate. He doing it right now because Detective Morgan goes on to ask him if it had anything to do with any of the investors that, they had conned out of their money or whatnot with the Ponzi scheme. No, Hudson is like, absolutely not. Now, he says, I don't know anything about that. What I do know is that Gary was not the one that was corrupt in this situation. So, of course, I'm sitting here like, okay, who is he going to say? Who is he going to put this on or whatnot? So, because he's already alluded to the fact that it wasn't him and it wasn't Gary. So I was like, okay, I'm waiting. He goes on to say, Andy is the issue. Andy is the main leader. She's the problem. That's the one you need to be looking at. Now, Agent Morgan is like, okay, hold on, wait a minute. I'm listening now. Like, what you saying? Because what he knows and understands is that Andy Barnes is a huge attorney in the city. So what he knows is she ain't hurting for no money at all. So why would she be involved in all of this? Now, Hudson goes on to add a few more items to that plate because he was like, no, the reason why all of this is going down is because she was the motivation. She was the one that pretty much made Gary do all of this to receive a huge payday. She was the one that got rid of him with the knife, right? Knife. I'm just saying, y'all. He put all of this on Andy. She was the one that did him in, possibly. She was the one that was motivating Gary to do all of this corrupt-ish throughout the city or whatnot and scheme on these people. But he doesn't stop there. Hudson goes on to add some extra business to the plate. He goes on to tell Detective Morgan about one of her best friends, talking about Karen, talking about, man, did you know she got 2 baby fathers? She got pregnant at the same daggone time with 2 kids by 2 different men. And he was like, what? Yeah, that's her. See, they all like that. They can't be trusted. I said, hold on, man. This ain't got nothing to do with this case. Like, what are you doing right now, Hudson? I see what you're trying to do. I see you, Playboy. But I don't know if this ain't no win-win situation, right? So anyhow, since we're talking about Karen, now we head over to the I guess another room where we see Karen and we see Agent Watt. Now, Agent Watt is talking to Karen. Karen is like, make it easy, make it quick because I got business to tend to. Since we're talking about your business, he goes on to tell her that, hey, I know you actually got 2 businesses to tend to. She was like, okay, what are you talking about? Well, you got the new salon because your old one burned down. Now you got this new one. And then you also have, Roots to Riches, started by Pam. But he also lists off her investors, talking about Aaron, the baby father, and then goes on to say Miss Marie Willis. And I was like, okay. So she was like, yeah, so you've obviously done your homework or whatnot. So anyhow, he doesn't stop there. He goes on to tell her that Miss Marie Willis was one of the first investors in Gary's business, right? And she lost a lot of money to that. So potentially she could have been, been one of the people that did what they did when they did what they did to Gary and laid him out on the floor like that with the knife, right? Now, moving on from there, because we're going to go ahead and get off of that. I felt like at some point that, Agent Watt was doing a little bit too much. He was going a little bit too hard in the paint when he didn't have enough evidence to, go that hard on these women and whatnot. Now, I know that's a tactic that, officers do, but bruh, it's not working. So anyhow, going on from there, we now head over to the juice bar where we see Tony coming in to meet up with Rich. Now, while he's there, Rich, pretty much asks him, have he heard anything about his girl Danny or whatnot? Tony goes on to tell him that, no, I haven't heard anything yet, but she's still waiting to be interviewed. So I was a little confused because initially, Rich is stating that they've already been interviewed multiple times or something like that, and now they're waiting to be interviewed. So I was a little thrown off by that. But anyhow, moving on, it is what it is. Now, at this point, though, we can obviously tell that Brother Rich is pissed. He's pissed because he feels like they've already conveyed everything they needed to the police, right? But at this point, he feels like it's unfair. Now, Tony goes on to tell him, like, just chill out a bit, man. It's going to be okay. Besides, our girls are not the only one that's going through it. You also got to think about Jordan's woman as well. So, of course, Rich is sitting over here like, what you talking about, Willis? Like, you talking about Andy? And he was like, yeah, I'm talking about Andy. Talking about Jordan's woman. And he was like, man, F that girl, man. And I was like, dang, like, for real? And he was like, yeah. Like, she is the reason why we're going through all of this, because she was two-timing our brother Jordan while she was messing with Gary at the same daggone time. If it wasn't for her, we would not be going through this. And I can understand his frustration. I also know and understand that he doesn't understand the full context of what's going down or what's happening. Now, hopefully this can eventually come out, not too slow, Tyler, but eventually roll out just enough for him to get a gist of it and understand it, and we can work within it, right? So anyhow, going on from there, though, we head back over to the police precinct where we see Sabrina, since we were just talking about Sabrina and, Karen and everybody in between. Sabrina is sitting over here in the interrogation room at this moment, obviously nervous, and the detective, I think his name is Detective Morgan, picked up on it immediately. And then he goes on to bring up her previous charges, when she was falsely accused for the bank robbery and all of that good stuff. And I'm like, bro, I get it. It's your job. But, bro, you going all into the personal and you trying to pull, these angles. This approach is not working for me. I'm just saying, I don't like the way these guys are treating these women, and they're not really going in on the dudes the same way. So I'm not sure what this is right here. But anyhow, she tells him, like I would do anything for my sisters. They're my family. And he was like, oh, so, you would do this, you would do that, whoop, whoop, whoop. And she was like, absolutely not. Right? Now, he knows Sabrina did not commit those crimes. It did not take a rocket scientist to know how to figure out how to pull up these documents on the computer to figure out that she was found innocent, right? Now, if we're going to stand by that standard, then leave all of that out the door and just focus on what's in front of us. Because I really don't see a need for you bringing up Maurice, bringing up Karen and her baby daddies and all of that situation. So, of course, Sabrina's like, look, I've had enough of all of this. And she finally decides to leave. And I'm glad that she decided to do that because it was getting on my nerves as well. From there, we head over to another interrogation where we see Danny is in the room with Agent Watt. Now, let me just say this right here, right now. Daggone it. Sister Danny, girl. Oh, she needs some interrogation, y'all. Look. Listen, man. Sister Danny is looking good. You know what I'm saying? So, y'all already know how I feel about Sabrina and Danny, man. Listen, ain't nothing new. So, as I was saying, let me get back on track, y'all. See, y'all be distracting me, man. Y'all be distracting the brother over here. But anyhow, as I was stating, he was attempting to do the same thing with Danny in this scenario, but unfortunately, it wasn't working because Danny, as I stated before, really didn't care. She was just transparent. She was herself, and she just pretty much said what was on her heart, man. So she told him, look, I came here to burn it down. I was not concerned. I did not care about anything except for my friend. I did not want her to go down that aisle with this dude because I did not like him, right? Then she goes on to say other things. So as she's talking, she's saying more and more. Now, Agent Watt is over here thinking that he got something. But unfortunately for him, he doesn't have a daggone thing, y'all. Listen, he thought he had it. And he was like, oh, yeah, keep going. Once he found out that there was nothing from it, he was like, okay, this isn't going anywhere. Because she goes on to say, look, after all of that, after everything I've given you, right, I didn't do it, all right? So you might as well leave it alone. So anyhow, going on from there, we then see another interrogation going down with Brother Zach. Now, Brother Zach is sitting down with Detective Morgan, and I already knew that this was going to be a fireball from the beginning because, Zach has had his experiences with the law previously, so he already knows how to handle the situation. So immediately before he can answer anything, he's already asking for an attorney. Like, can I have my attorney? All right. Could I have him or her here, please. So he was like, oh, okay, why you need an attorney if you haven't done anything? He was like, am I being charged? He was like, no, we're just talking. He was like, look, I already know how this game goes. If I give you anything, all you're going to try to do is to twist it and bring it back towards me and accuse me of doing something that I did not do. And I'm sitting here like, detective, I'm going to give it up, bro. The ones you talking to right now, talking about Zach and Fatima, these are not the ones you need to be talking. These are not the ones you need to be talking to right now, because they're not going to give you what you want nor need, right? They already have been schooled and well educated in law, right? So you might as well leave that alone, because, you know, when he brought up little Michael talking about, hey, if you don't cooperate, if you don't work with me, then how would you feel if, you know, Heather's attorney and all of this stuff, whoop, whoop, whoop. Now, that's messed up, man. And I'm sitting here pissed off, because I'm like, bro, why would you even do that? Why would you say those things when you know there are kids out there without their fathers and, you know, mothers in their lives, man? Like, why would you want to do that and send that child back over there with a mother that's not really tending to his needs or whatnot? Like, that's messed up, right? Then, you know, when he finally, you know, comes in to raise up a little bit, because now at this point, Zach is pissed. So, of course, he was like, hold on, wait a minute. What did you just say? Did you just say he was unalived? So does that mean Gary is gone? And of course, you know, the detective, it seems like he confirms it, right? So he was like, dang. So of course, when we get over to the interrogation with Fatima and Agent Watt, you know, of course, I felt like it was going to be the same old all the way around. He tries it, but of course, it doesn't work, because she's been in law school. She's, you know, she's well versed in this environment, right? So there's no need for him to really try to go down this tunnel with her, because it's not going to work. She's privy to the conversations that they have behind the scenes or whatnot. Same thing with Andy. So he figures this is not going to work. But then when he starts to attack her personally, talking about, I just hope that you don't go out here and have this man ruin your life and become a statistic and all that. I was like, dang, like, what? Who pissed you off? Who pissed in your Cheerios this morning, bro? Like, what's going on, man? Like, he came in here like somebody did him wrong. Like, did you not get a promotion? I mean, he even brought up the promotion with, what's her name? Sabrina Morgan did, right? And I'm like, dang, what's wrong with these folks? Now, I know you got to be hard when you're dealing with hard criminals. These are not criminals. Well, you know, you know what? I'm gonna leave that alone, right? So anyhow, so now we come back to see Andy in the interrogation room waiting as Agent Watt finally returns. Now, in the other room, we see Jordan asking if his sister is okay. Detective Morgan goes on to pretty much tell him everything that was going on with his sister and how she lost her unborn child and how Gary did her like this. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So what he was hoping to happen did not happen, and it actually backfired. But at the same time, I was glad that Jordan was able to use this opportunity to get some things off his chest. But what I did not like in this situation, where Detective Morgan pretty much told him that Andy was using him and his sister Penelope, right? Talking about he was just caught up in sex, lies, and scandal. Like, that'd be a good song, right? That'd be a good track. I wonder who would sing an R&B track like that, sex, lies, and scandal. I don't know. It would have to be a good person to play that out. But anyhow, like I said, I didn't like how that was going. Like, this whole daggone episode had me pissed off from the very beginning. Because yes, we want to know who did it, but do we really, really care? Absolutely not. But of course, we got to talk about it because it's the show, right? Now, since we're talking about the show and people being possibly innocent or guilty, let's go ahead and head over to see Brother Hayden, packing up his luggage. Now I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. Why are you packing luggage? Like, And at the same daggone time, he's watching the news, right? Now, on the news, we hear the story or the situation being played out on the news or whatnot. They're talking about Gary and how he was planning to get married to Andy and all of this good stuff. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I even heard Marie's name being brought up, right? Now, as he's packing, he's looking. He's packing, he's folding, he's looking, right? Now, there's a throwback from the previous season where we see him talking to Tamara. Now, he had just found out that she was getting it in with Gary. Now, she conveys to him that it was just sex. That's all it was. Now, of course, he's in his feelings. He's upset because he loved this woman. He loved her, man. You see what I'm saying? Now, at this moment, he got to find that knife. All right? I'm hoping that's the case. But, you know what I'm saying? Because I need him to go away, too. But I'm just saying, he had to do something. You know what I'm saying? You done took my love away from me. I thought we were boys. So that's the scene we see. Now, the next thing you know, he's saying out of his own two lips that he had to go, and I'm hoping that she gonna go too. And I was like, who you talking about? He's talking about Tamara. So, of course, as he's getting his bag, he done zipped it up and everything. He's saying goodbye to the ATL. I was like, okay. Most people say welcome to the ATL, but he's saying goodbye to the ATL, right? So now as he's walking to the door, he opens the door and oh my goodness, here's sunshine. Sunshine Tamara. Tamara is shining bright through the door and she was like, where you going? And he looked at her up and down. And I was like, I guess he ain't going no daggone well, right? So anyhow, from there, we now head over to Sabrina's crib where we see Brother Rich is waiting on Sabrina's return. So of course, when she gets in, he's glad to see her. She sits down on the couch and she immediately starts to let it go. She gets emotional because she didn't like the way they were treating her, and it made her step back in that mindset mentally where she was when she was being accused of a crime that she did not commit, right? So I thought it was good for him to be there, be supportive for his woman. He told her that, don't worry about a thing. I'm going to stay right here with you. I got somebody handling the juice bar and whatnot. So she was like, are you sure? He was like, yeah. So going on from there, we then head over to see Danny, who is returning home as well, getting ready to go to work. But before she can go to work, she's attempting to, make a journal entry or whatnot. Something that, Krisha had encouraged her to do or whatnot. Now, while she's writing, she's saying all of these outlandish things and then balls it up, tears it out, like, can't do that one. And then she finally sits down and refocus and starts to, actually be serious about this assignment, right? And I think it is therapeutic to get your thoughts out, verbally or, in written fashion, however you need to do it, right? Now, as she's finishing up her journal entry or whatnot, in walks Brother Tony. Now, of course, when he walks in, she's super glad to see him. She places the journal down on the table. And, of course, he's just coming in to check in on her mentally. Like, how are you doing? How are you feeling? I know it's been a rough time with all of this going down. But, she's not really interested in any mental stimulation at this moment. What she's more concerned about is the sexual healing, my brother. And of course, he's not ready to get well at any time, as he stated, I'm ready and willing to give it to you. But I was just coming here to check in on you. She was like, no, I don't need that. What I need is you. And he was like, hold on, wait a minute. Like, you need to go to work. She ain't concerned. She ain't concerned about going to work, my brother. She's ready to go into some work, but she ain't ready to go into work, if you understand what I'm saying. But anyhow, going on from there, we then head over to Sister Karen's crib where we see her going throughout her schedule, seeing what she has on the schedule for the day or for the week or whatnot. And then there's a knock at the door. Now, she gets up, goes to the door, and immediately opens it. And I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. Have we not learned a thing? Look through the peephole. You don't know who's outside. So when she opens the door, fortunately, it's Pam. right? Now, Pam looks a little different. I don't know if she has some work. I don't know, but she looked good. You know what I'm saying? She looked good. So when she came in, of course, she embraces her and whatnot. She's there to just check in on Karen as well, but also to take her into work, so they can carpool together or whatnot, because they're friends. They the new buddies in town or whatnot. So anyhow, going on from there, we then lastly head over to see Fatima and Zach. Now, Zach is pretty pissed off, of how the situation went down, which is understandable or whatnot. He's sitting over here pacing back and forth in his crib or whatnot, talking about, I can't believe that the Popo believed that I was the one that did it or whatnot. Now, Fatima, interestingly, right, is sitting down on the couch looking like, I don't know. And of course, he's looking at her like, what's up? What's up with you? And she was like, well, did you? And he was like, what? Hold on. Are you saying I did it? She was like, well, I'm just asking because there was a time when you were not with me. We were separated or whatnot. And he was like, do you think I would physically do that? And she was like, yeah. So he was like, no, I did not do that. But since we're asking the questions out here and we putting it out on Front Street, did you? And she was like, what? No. Why would you ask me? He was like, well, I mean, if anybody in the daggone room is able and willing to do such a thing, it would be you. And then you go on to prove his point by saying, no, I use knives for torture. I was like, hold on, wait, what, for real? That's what we're doing? And of course, he was like, look, I'm going to put that in, I'm going to log that into my memory, right? So I thought that was crazy, and it was comical at the same daggone time because they're both looking at each other. But this is what got me when she said, I mean, if you did, I ain't tripping about it. We just need to get our story. We need to get our story together. And I was like, that's my girl. Like, that's what I'm talking about. If I did it, I know you got me. Listen, I'm good with that too. Now, let's get back over here to this daggone police station, right? Because I'm pissed, y'all. Listen, so we get back over there. Andy is still sitting over here talking to an old boy that's still pissed off. I don't know who poo-pooed in his Cheerios or whatnot, but it is what it is. So, at this point, Andy is saying whatever she's saying to him, and of course it pisses him off even more, talking about, oh, you get all ran through and all of this stuff and mistreated and all this stuff, then you come over here to the good guys, and I was like, hold on. I'm like, hold on, wait a daggone minute, bro. So now, as all of this is falling apart in front of my eyes, man, I'm like, he is unfit. We got a lot of conversations going on with unfit people in the world today. But I'm just saying, he is unfit to have this role right now. All right, he needs to step off. He needs to just have some time and go off into timeout for a little bit. Sit in the corner, put your nose on the chalkboard, something like that. You know what I'm saying? But anyhow, as it starts to get heated, Andy steps up because she's already said, look, am I free to go? And he was like, you're free to go at any time. But then she was like, oh, really? But you keep telling me to sit down. So am I really free to go? He was like, yeah, your friend's been gone. I've been sitting here waiting on you to talk. And she was like, oh, so, So this is the thing for me that really pissed me off, because I've been asking this same daggone question for the longest daggone time. Where in the heck is Robin? Where has he been? He went out to get a loan, went out to get some money. Now, all of a sudden, that Gary is, gone, supposedly, right? Now, all of a sudden, guess who walks into the door when it started to get heated? Here comes Robin. He done lost weight, too. I guess he been stressed. So, now, he's talking about, who are you? He says, I'm her attorney, right? I'm like, daggone, where you been, bro? Like, you go... So anyhow, from there, now we head over to the hospital. Now, I already knew this crap was coming, daggone it. I try not to read stuff, man. I try to stay out of the loop, but it is what it is, right? So I'm sitting here and I see Hudson running through the hospital, and I was like, come on, bro. He got his hair flowing in the wind while he running through, and he was like, is he gone? Is he gone? And I was like, they said he was gone. So the doctor slowly was, well, it was a long process, but it was a hit or miss. And, fortunately, he's a strong, and he came on through. I was like, dadgum. So I guess we got to live through this, man. So, of course, it is what it is. So I'm intrigued now because you got one man that's packing up his suitcases, looking at the news, but he stopped by a ray of sunshine at his door. And then you have a dude that saw the light, but didn't go into the light. I don't know which type of light it was, but he didn't go. So he's still back on this part of the earth. So who knows, man? You know what? I can't do it, y'all. I can't do it. But anyhow, that's pretty much the end of the episode, man. I hope that you guys have enjoyed it. I am back. I had to take a little hiatus, had to do some things, had to get some things done. But I'm back, and I'm ready to get back into this action, man. Zach Tima. I got quite a few episodes I got to catch up on. I haven't really watched them at all. I'm going to sit down and watch them with my wife, but they will be coming out this week and some part of next week to get us caught up. Ruthless, I got them already ready to go, so they will be coming out from this week to next week. What else do I have coming from? If you watch some of my previous seasons of From season 2, I got it uploaded already, I think last year or something like that. If you have yet to watch that, it is, Halloween season, and that's like one of my favorite parts of the year with my moms. That's something we used to do, watching those old scary movies from back in the day, man. So, I will have those episodes ready within this week and next week as well. So be on the lookout for all of those things. With that being said, I will holler at y'all soon. Make sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss shiznit that's going down. And of course, my apologies for not having the images on this video, but with the time constraint that I have right here, I'm just trying to get them out to y'all. So hopefully y'all can appreciate that. Let me know how you feel down below. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.